Welcome back.
Look at that. What is happening?
Bro. Please don't break. It's still a car and it's still very heavy. That was a terrible idea. The rotisserie is finished. What is up, everybody, and welcome back. Today I will be getting started on the rotisserie for the Corolla. If you don't know what a rotisserie is, it's basically just like a chicken rotisserie. Imagine engine stands on the front and the back of the car, and then it just allows you to rotate the vehicle so that you can work on the underside of it easier and on top, and just makes it easier as a whole when you're doing body work as a full restoration to get everything done on the bottom of the vehicle. Yes, I have a lift, but doing things overhead can be kind of a pain compared to if it was on its side, and then I can literally just work on it that way. We make things a whole lot easier. As you can see, I've already gotten started. Unfortunately, I forgot to record all this, but it's nothing crazy. So you have your rear rotisserie in, which I've already got done, and I've got the front rotisserie in, which I've already got done up there. They're all welded up already. Pretty straightforward, just measure it out. And then I utilize the OEM mounting points for the front and rear bash bars. And as you can see right here, I'm in the middle of finding the center line of the chassis. So basically how I've already done this, but I just kind of set it up to show you guys how I did it. So I measured from this piece of the cowl to that end of the cowl, found the center line, marked it onto the cowl. Same thing with the back window, went from one end to the other end, marked it on the chassis where the center line was. Then I got this long square tubing, and I marked the center line of the middle of the square tubing as well on both ends. And I had this laser, which I'm lining up with both ends of the center line on the tubing. And as you can see, I've got my center line for the front already done, and I already had the center line for the rear already done. So I just took the laser and I mounted it closer to this end so that I could get a better beam on this end. This is gonna be the center line for the middle of the chassis. I already have the center line for the side of the chassis, but I'll show you how to get that right now. All right, so let's find the center line for the side of the car now. Yeah, probably wondering what's going on here, and I will explain. Trust me, it makes sense. So I've got good pinch welds. Luckily, what I did was I ran this bar straight across from one side to the other side of the pinch welds, and then I put a little bit of tension onto it with the jack not coming off the lift points. So there's like barely any tension on this thing. So I did that. Then I ran a bar across the top. You kind of want to go from like the middle right here because it kind of concaves like this. So the highest point is going to be pretty much right here. So I've already done the dirty work, measured it out. It comes to 44 inches top to bottom. So that means center line is going to be 22 inches, which I've marked right here. This is the center line of the side of the vehicle for the front. And then for the rear back here, and if you look at the rear, it basically comes to exactly where the tag bolts are. So right there, as you can see, and right there you can see, those are the tag bolts. So makes it pretty easy. So right pretty much along here is the center line for the side, and then straight here is gonna be center line for the middle. So leaves us to right here for being the complete center line. So when I triangulate this rear and front link, I'm gonna put my center line rotational area right here for the rotisserie to rotate on. And for the front, it pretty much came to right about where this white dot is, and then lines up with the front bar. So obviously here for the rear, and then right here for the front are gonna be your center line rotational points. Use it as a reference. If you want to roll with it and don't want to measure, you assume all responsibility. So that's on you. So now the next step is to get these triangulated. So that I'm actually going to knock out tomorrow. So I'll see you tomorrow. What the hell is this? All right. So basically I needed to find out the length and the angles of these two pieces on the rotisserie end. I had a couple of scrap pieces of wood laying around, so I just made sure that both the bottom ends were even, and then I threw a nail in the center to act as like a pivot point. So I got these two clamps holding them in right now, and I have everything marked out and all my angles. So now just to convert that into cutting up this metal over here. So this is where everything starts to go wrong. Now I have to fix the cuts on these because these cuts are so bad. Like, I don't know if you can kind of pick this up on the camera or not, but this is probably one of the worst cuts ever. Like, my God. Then this cut isn't as bad, but that's only because I actually attempted to make this straight with an angle grinder, but I could only do so much with the angle grinder because this is 3/16 steel and I'd be here forever just grinding away at it with an angle grinder. So luckily we got the bandsaw now, so I'm gonna put these things on the bandsaw and make them straight. But I gotta measure that out, which I'm gonna do over here on the table.
Just finished putting the bandsaw together. Like it, except it's completely fucked up. Dude, look at that. And look at that. This doesn't even get hit. And like, look how it like goes in like this. Like, bro, what happened? What? It's like the box is fine. Nothing wrong with the box. Literally not a single thing. And I go to like look down here and I see there's a freaking Grand Canyon crack right here. And then I didn't even see this one until I like looked to the side and saw like the shadow of it. And then I look up here and it's cracked too. What? It's trash. Absolute trash. So, thanks Amazon. Now I gotta return this.
All right, let's try this again.
Nothing looks broken. Everything looks mostly intact. The piece that was broke on the last one doesn't look broken on this one.
And it doesn't look like an elephant landed on top of it. Nice. All right, so now I have to finish up the front spit. I'm about halfway done right now. I have the bottom portion of it already welded up. I have found the center of the brace for the spit. So it's like 12 1/4 inches from here to here. So I gotta mark that out onto my table and I'll show you why I'm gonna need to mark it out on the table. All right, so here we are over at the table. Everything's already done. I've got all my marks and everything is pretty much done. But I'm just gonna kind of go over this in a little quick recap, just so when you get to this point, you kind of have an idea on what to do. You can do it your own way, whatever. This is the way I do it, or this is the way I'm doing it right now until I figure out a better way. So first step is I got the lower piece and I have it fixed to the table right now with these magnets, just so it doesn't move while I'm making the marks and while I'm figuring everything out for the angles. So I made a straight mark from end to end on the table, as well as a mark that goes down the center that has my 12 1/4 inch mark right there for my center pivot point. As you can see, I've already got everything marked out over here. On this side, essentially what I did was I have these pieces that are like, they came with my welding table, but they're true, they're flat, and they're not bent or anything. So it gives me a good reference point for marking my lines. So as you can see, I've already got this one. So basically I just made sure that these were straight and fixed where they need to be, and then just kind of went at the angle that was good for this. So only problem is when I cut these pieces off on each of these ends to correct the gnarly angles that my chop saw screwed up and made, it's gonna drop this down. So it's gonna drop it down like about a 1/2 inch, I think I saw. So luckily I kind of accounted for that. And if this drops down a 1/2 inch, well, for starters, it's gonna be here, right? And then when it drops down 1/2 inch, it's gonna basically end up like right around here. So pretty straight, not quite, but it doesn't have to be super perfect. It just has to be super close. So right now, everything's good. So I just gotta take these two pieces over to the bandsaw and get those cut. And hopefully the angles aren't too gnarly, because I had to like tweak the bandsaw for the last pieces for the rear spit. Yeah, hopefully the angles aren't too, what the heck is going on with the camera? Yeah, hopefully the angles aren't too gnarly and I don't have any problem cutting these. I told you guys I had to do some sketchy stuff, but yeah, it works. All right, got everything cut up and everything lines up really well. So no grinding, no adjusting, first cut, first pass, everything lines up really well. So got everything sanded down right now. So I'm gonna go ahead and tack everything together, start welding this, get the stand wall welded up, and the front will be done. Next step is cut up all this extra metal that I have from 2 engine lifts that I'm no longer using. So I'm cutting up the bottom of this thing into pieces, and I found this. What? Dude, that's not, look at this. Over here cutting this thing up, and I'm getting invaded. What's up, dude? Yo. What? So, yeah, just pick that tool up, dude. Just pick that thing up and help a brother out. Do more than this, dude. What are you doing? What is happening? So I cut the end off of this thing, and look at this, bro. Look at this, yo. This is gnarly. Look how huge these wasp nests are. Bro. Yo, there's another one. I don't know, is there more? Can't tell. I think that's it. That's crazy. Wow. Ugh. So, after an entire day of cutting, grinding, quick trip to the ER, and a couple weeks with impaired vision, this is what I'm left with. This is all the good metal from the 2 rotisserie ends. Bro. Yeah. Bro, leave me alone. And this is all the bad metal that I will not be using. So as I told you before, I cut up 2 engine hoists, and I'm using the scrap metal from the 2 hoists because of stuff like this. Yeah, you can't use an engine hoist with conditions like that. That stuff is not going to be getting used because that stuff is really bad. This stuff, on the other hand, will be getting used because there's not crazy pitting. There's still some rust, but it's not nearly as bad as that stuff over there. So this stuff will be used, and now I'm pretty much done with all the cutting. So now it's just sanding and metal prep, so. Just keeps getting better and better and better. Like, come on, man. Come on, dude. Bro, the metal fell off of the table and then cuts my line, which already happened before, like a couple months ago with my pedal, and I fixed that, but I can't fix that. So now I have to buy a new line. Great. And after lots of cutting, grinding, welding, sanding, burning, fitting. The rotisserie is finished. Yes, couldn't be more hyped. This thing is cool. Can you believe I made this? This is awesome. Like, I've never done anything like this. Like, I really hope my welds hold. I'm not the greatest welder, but yeah, we'll find out, right? But it looks sick. So next up is just basically get all this crap out of here. And there's a lot of crap in here. So yeah, basically just have to clean this thing out. Seats in here by like, maybe like one bolt. I was just testing some stuff. Yeah, a bunch of junk in here I gotta get out, so I can see if it does its first official kickflip. So that's gonna be up next after I get all the junk out of here, and then I get to rotate it and see if my welds are actually good. Because if they're not, I'm gonna primo this thing. Let's hope for the best. Got everything cleaned out. Actually cleaned up pretty nice. So I get to see how bad everything is, and yeah, nothing changed. It's still bad. So looks a lot better cleaned up. Sucked up all the like 10 years of leaves and dust and junk and dead animals out of this thing. So let's see what we got here. Oh, that's gross. Yeah, there's all kinds of stuff in here. The best part is I'm gonna have to sift through all this to find all the bolts and random stuff that I left in here. But good news is this is ready to flip. This is everything that came out of the Corolla. Just a bunch of just junk. Some of this stuff's good, but most of it's just junk. All right, the final and last test of the rotisserie. See if it actually works. All right, please don't break. Oh God, please don't break. Oh. Yes. All right. It's holding. Yes. What? Bro, no way. This is awesome. So far, so good. Now the real test. Can I flip it? Oh. Oh yeah, I forgot the ground isn't completely level. Oh crap. All right, I can fix this with a big chunk of metal. Oh God. It's super crooked. Okay. Let's see how hard this is. What? Okay, what am I gonna do now? All right, okay. I didn't think about this. How am I gonna flip this? Yeah. Let's try this. Oh my God. It's still a car and it's still very heavy. Whoa. Okay. Still a very heavy car. All right, now what do? Just gotta kind of keep moving it. Oh, I know. I'll use the lift. Oh God, that like moved the whole thing. Yeah, okay. All right, this is fine. Whoa. Whoa. Okay. What? All right. Okay. We're good. We're good. Move too much. All right, the locks are in. Please don't break. Oh, dude. It works. Let's go. This is awesome, bro. I wonder if it can hold me too. Let's go. We're good. And just like that, I'm completely done with the rotisserie. Couldn't be more happy with how this turned out. I'm so psyched. Like, you guys have no idea what it's like to build something like this and then like straight up see your car sideways. This is super cool. So super happy with everything. It's a little uneven. Well, it's not uneven, but like the floor is uneven. So as you can kind of see, like over here, I had a wedge, like a piece of metal under there so that I could kind of balance it out. But the rotisserie itself is super stout, super even. I was really expecting to screw something up out of all this, so I'm pretty happy that I didn't. And I'm super happy that none of my welds broke, because that's another thing I was worried about. I was like, man, I've welded before, but nothing to this magnitude, so seeing this work is pretty crazy. So next up is to basically so I parked the Civic in here, mainly because there's a rat that's around here that my harness on the Civic is made out of cheese, and that rat likes cheese. So he's chewed my harness like twice now, and I've had to repair it twice. So to avoid that, I've just been parking the Civic in the shed now. But that being the case, I don't have any room with this thing on the floor. So essentially what I'm gonna have to do is take this thing and push it to the back and have it like sideways along the back so that I can also pull the Civic in here as well. So that's gonna be fun. I'm gonna try to engineer a way using this thing and that thing and using, yeah, like some sort of dolly technique. In here it makes sense. We'll see if it actually works or not. So yeah, that probably couldn't have been a worse idea at all. That was a terrible idea. So we're not gonna go with that because that was super dangerous, and I'm not trying to have this thing fall to the ground, and yeah, we're not gonna do that. Instead, I went ahead and put the old caster wheels from the legs of the hoist back on. So these bottom two bars for the legs, essentially, of the rotisserie are actually the legs of both of the engine hoists. And both the engine hoists had the holes drilled out already for the casters. So I just went ahead and I put them back on. So simple enough, easy, and much safer. Also, I added this center support bar just for stabilization of both of the rotisserie ends. I probably could have just, drilled out some holes and thrown some casters onto the front, but I had this laying around and I'm lazy. So yeah, that works out really well. So save me some time. Also, I'm sure you're probably wondering how I flipped this thing without using the lift. It's pretty sketchy. I mean, just like half of the stuff that I've been doing, but it does work, and yeah, it just works. So don't make fun of me, but I'll show you how I do that right now. All right, like I said, this method works totally fine. Don't judge me. See? Not bad. Very sketchy though, but it works. Okay, also something that I think I forgot to mention, I'm not sure. So I know I said that this, gotta get in on here. I know I said that this right here was gonna be my center pivot point, but I actually lowered this down a little bit, probably like about an inch, maybe like an inch and a half, I think like an inch, just because when this thing's rotating, obviously you're gonna have a lot more weight towards the bottom because that's where most of the metal is gonna be. On the top, you really just have the roof, and the center line, like I said, is gonna be like right here. So it's gonna throw off the weight a little bit. So I dropped it down an inch, which made it a lot easier to just kind of, like just with one hand, I can just kind of rock this thing all around, and it's fairly easy. If I had to do it over again, I probably would have dropped it down another inch. Basically, as you can see right here, it's like about, so it's like an inch under it. I would probably go down another inch just to make it a little bit easier to rotate. But as it stands right now, it's pretty good. Whenever you go to the center line, drop it down at least an inch. So that way it makes it easier to move around. Cause like this is just literally one-handing it. And yeah, it spins just fine, so. All right, stop spinning. But yeah, if I had to do it over again, I'd probably go down 1 more inch, but yeah. So rotisserie is finally finished. Gotta move it, and now I have to get all the undercoating off. That's gonna be fun. Not looking forward to that, but it's gotta be done. So, till next time, see ya.